Hello my dear students. Students, in the previous session we discussed about the process of digestion in detail, and we also discussed about the organs which helps in the process of digestion, that is esophagus, stomach, and we also discussed somewhat about small intestine. So now in today's session we will continue this lesson and we will study about the process of absorption, assimilation and egestion, which are the three important stages of the nutrition in humans. So the first topic which we are going to take in today's session is absorption in small intestine. As we discussed, students, that in small intestine most digestion and absorption takes place. By the time the food we eat travels to the small intestine, it is thoroughly broken down. But the digestive juices in the small intestine break it down into absorbable nutrients so that the absorption process can take place. So how this absorption process takes place, what is absorption? Let us discuss about it. Yes, students, the digested food can now pass into the blood vessels in the wall of the intestine. That means digestion is over. The digested food which is in the small intestine can now pass into the blood vessels in the wall of the intestine, and this process is called absorption, because the inner walls of the small intestine have thousands of finger-like outgrowths which can absorb this digested food. But what are these finger-like outgrowths called as? Yes, these finger-like outgrowths are called as villi. In singular form we call it as villus, and in plural form it is called as villi. So actually the villi increase the surface area for absorption of the digested food. Once the liver has done its work, once the bile has played an important role in the digestion of fats, once the pancreas or the pancreatic juice has acted on carbohydrates and proteins and changed them into simpler forms, the digested food will now get absorbed by these small projections present in the small intestine known as villi. Now what does this villi does? It increases the surface area. That is why they are very small. So these small projections or the hair-like growth in the lining of the small intestine increases the surface area for the absorption process of the digested food. So once this digested food process is over, the food that remains undigested and unabsorbed then enters into the large intestine. So all this happens in the small intestine. This absorption process happens in the small intestine. Somewhat digestion and most of the absorption. Now what happens actually? The villi increases the surface area for the absorption of digested food, and then each villus has a network of thin and small blood vessels close to its surface, and the surface of the villi absorbs the digested food materials. And finally, when the surface of the villi absorbs the digested food, the absorbed substances are then transported via the blood vessels to different organs of the body. Now why they are traveled or why they are transported to different organs of the body? They are traveled or they are transported to the different organs of the body because it is there where they are used to build complex substances such as proteins which are required by our body, right? And then this process is followed by another important process known as assimilation. But before assimilation, we should know that what is actually going on in large intestine, because absorption of the digested food is occurring in small intestine, but the food that remains undigested enters into the large intestine. So let us now first discuss about large intestine. So we are done with the process of absorption. Now we will learn about this one more important organ of the human digestive tract or the alimentary canal, and that is large intestine. Now what is large intestine, students? Large intestine is wider and shorter than the small intestine. It is about 1.5 meter in length. Now you must be thinking that small intestine is not smaller than large intestine and large intestine is shorter than small intestine. Now you can just imagine that how beautifully or amazingly and so trickily God has created such a creature like human beings, that it is named as large intestine but it is actually shorter than small intestine. Do you remember that small intestine is actually 7.5 meters long, while large intestine is 1.5, only 1.5 meter in length. So obviously we can say that large intestine is shorter than the small intestine. And small intestine is highly coiled, but large intestine is not so highly coiled because it is not actually so long that it has to be coiled so highly, right? And that is why, what is the function of large intestine? Yes, its function is to absorb water and some salts from the undigested food material, because rest of the digested food material has already been absorbed in the small intestine, and that is why the undigested food material which is now left enters the large intestine, and large intestine absorbs water and some salts which are necessary for the body from the undigested food material, and rest of the food material remains there only. So this is large intestine, this is small intestine. Here absorption occurs, absorption of digested food occurs, which gives us energy. And large intestine, what it does? Large intestine absorbs water and salts from undigested food. Then finally what happens? Once the food reaches the large intestine, most digestion has already taken place. As we know that most digestion has already taken place in the small intestine. So what will be the main function now? The main functions of the large intestine to absorb water, as we discussed, and it will absorb water and salt, and it will form fecal matter to remove waste from our body. Right? So once the food reaches the large intestine, what is the function of large intestine? Yes, its function is to absorb water and salts from the undigested food, and rest of the food from which now nothing has to be absorbed will form the fecal matter to remove the waste out from our body. So this is about large intestine. So this is where the process occurs after the absorption, and that is termed as assimilation, right? The absorbed substances are transported via the blood vessels to different organs of the body, where they are used to build complex substances such as proteins, which are required by the body, and this is called as assimilation. So assimilation is the process after absorption. When once the food or the substances are absorbed, they are transported to different organs for giving energy, and there they build the complex substances like proteins. As we know that proteins are very much helpful in growth and development of our body. So what happens actually in the cells? Glucose breaks down with the help of oxygen into carbon dioxide and water, and finally the energy is released, and the food that remains undigested and unabsorbed enters into large intestine, which we discussed. So in assimilation what happens? Yes, glucose will break down with the help of oxygen and carbon dioxide and water, yes, and it will release energy, right? So this is what happens in assimilation after absorption. Now what we discussed in the large intestine was that it absorbs water and some salts from the undigested food material, and the remaining waste passes into some other organ. What is that organ called as? Yes, that organ is called as that organ is called as rectum, and the remaining waste passes to the rectum and remains there as semi-solid feces. So the fecal matter is actually removed out by the process of egestion or elimination. Egestion means releasing out the unwanted or the removal substances from our body. So what happens after absorption of water in the large intestine? The undigested food becomes semi-solid and then it is stored in the rectum as in the form of feces until it is excreted via the anus. The anus, which is the last part of the human digestive tract or the alimentary canal. So I hope you are clear with this. The absorption and elimination which occurs in the large intestine, right? Let us discuss again. The large intestine is actually wider and heavier than the small intestine, but it is 1.5 meters in length, which is shorter. However, it rises up on the right side of the body and it crosses over to the other side underneath the stomach, and then it forms S shape before reaching the rectum and anus. So the muscular rectum, which is about 6 inches long, expels the feces through the anus, which has a large muscular sphincter that controls the passage of the waste matter. You might have noticed whenever you go into the bathroom, right, with the contraction and expansion of the muscle sphincter controls the passage of this waste matter, that is feces, right? And the large intestine finally removes the water from the waste products of digestion and returns some of it to the bloodstream, which is very important for our body. So what actually the feces or the fecal matter contains? Yes, now you must be thinking that fecal matter must be containing some food, but what type of food it contains? Yes, it contains undigested food. Why it contains undigested food? Because that cannot be digested by our body, and that is why fecal matter, which has to be thrown out of our body, contains undigested food, bacteria and cells from the walls of the digestive tract. So there are actually millions of bacteria which are present in the large intestine, which helps to produce some vitamins, and these vitamins are absorbed into the bloodstream along with water. Remember, we studied that the large intestine, the function of large intestine is to absorb water and some salts. It is this water which are getting absorbed along with the vitamins which are necessary for our body. So large intestine also plays a very important role. And finally, the feces passes from the rectum to the anus, and anus finally releases out the waste material from our body. So this is what is all about the process of absorption, assimilation and egestion, or we can also call it as elimination. Means it has eliminated the waste products out of our body. This is what the picture is. Large intestine which forms an S shape. Can you see this? Somewhat S shape. Finally, the undigested food comes from the large intestine to rectum, and then it passes to the anus, and finally the fecal matter or the waste material is thrown out of the body, right? So this is out of the body. That means egestion process had now occurred, right? So that was all about the 5 stages, that is ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and egestion, which are very important stages in the process of nutrition taking place in humans. But there are some disorders of the digestive system which includes, one of them is diarrhea, a very common disorder. How does it occur? Sometimes there is a consumption of infected food or unclean water which can result into a condition called as diarrhea. What is it actually? It is an infection of the intestine and involves the passing of watery stools very frequently. No doubt stools passes, but watery stools, if the passing of watery stools are very frequent, that means it can cause dehydration. Means there will be a loss of water in our body as the passing of watery stools are very frequently occurring because of the infection of the intestine. So if there will be an infection in the intestine because of some consumption of infected food or contaminated water or food, that will result in the condition of called as diarrhea, condition of the infection of intestine called diarrhea. So finally, in diarrhea there will be removal or there will be loss of water, which is termed as dehydration. So diarrhea and dehydration occurs simultaneously. Dehydration is a condition that results due to the loss of water from the body, and it can be serious if not treated on time. So if you have ever had a bad time in the bathroom, then you know what this is. It is diarrhea. It happens when there is too much of water in our bowel movements. With diarrhea, we have to go to the bathroom a lot, and your poop is runny and watery. That means the fecal matter or the stools is runny and watery. And sometimes we may have experienced the need of passing the watery stool frequently. So it may be caused by an infection, food poisoning or indigestion. And it is very common in India, particularly among children. So under severe conditions, if not treated, it can be fatal, it can be very dangerous. This is because of the excessive loss of the water and salts from the body. There is a removal of water from the body, but along with water, there is removal of salts also from the body. So that is very dangerous. Water and salts are actually getting out of our body, and that is why this excessive loss can be very fatal, especially particularly among children. So diarrhea should not be neglected. Even before a doctor is consulted, the patient should be given plenty of boiled and cooled water with a pinch of salt and sugar dissolved in it. And this can help a lot, really. It can also be avoided by giving oral rehydrating solution called as ORS to the patient suffering from diarrhea, right? As you must be knowing about WHO ORS. What is it? WHO ORS? Yes, WHO is actually World Health Organization. The World Health Organization are conducting such type of programs, and WHO ORS is actually given to the patient which is suffering from diarrhea. So ORS is the oral rehydrating solution. It is a solution which is very much essential for a patient suffering from diarrhea, because it can regain water and salts by having this solution. So this can be very beneficial to the patient, right? So this was all about the process of assimilation, absorption and digestion, and also we discussed about one such disorder of the intestine, that is diarrhea, right? So I hope you enjoyed this session and learned many things about the nutrition in humans. I hope you enjoyed. We will meet in the next session with a new topic, with the same lesson, but with a new topic. Till then, keep learning, keep enjoying.